My name's Angelo, and welcome to We Want Picks. This is the only channel dedicated to UFC fight picks and DraftKings lineups run by MMA insiders and professional fighters. Every week, I join Dan Kramer and Nick Newell, two longtime professional fighters that have fought at the highest levels on the planet, as well as Jacob Lyons, a skinny kid from Indiana. So join us every single week for our full fight card breakdowns, our individual fight card breakdowns, our betting guide, and our DraftKings lineups. Next up at UFC Vegas 26, we have Diego Ferreira versus Gregor Gillespie, and I moved my entire DraftKings lineup around to make sure Gregor Gillespie was in it. And this is an awesome fight. I love watching both of these guys fight. I'm legitimately looking forward to this, but this is pretty clear for me. Is it clear for you, Dan?
Yeah, I like Gregor Gillespie in this fight. I'm excited to see him come back. He's very, very, very good wrestler. I think he's going to come out with a vengeance after the loss to Kevin Lee. He was on a 6-fight win streak before that. They were talking about him as, being a contender, potentially a future champion. Good ground and pound, top game submissions. Good striking too. I think he's just very well rounded. He just looks and sounds like he has that kind of champion's mentality. And then Ferreira is a tricky grappler. He uses submissions to stand up if he doesn't get the sub. His takedown defense was not that great from what I saw. Beneil Dariush took him down pretty easily. Not that Beneil's a bad wrestler, but he just took him down really pretty easily. And he's also down to slug it out, but not like a really polished striker. So I just think that this is Gregor Gillespie is just a different level fighter. I think he's going to win this fight. Probably a pretty dominant unanimous decision would be my guess. And I think he'll score pretty well. So I am trying to get him in my lineup right now. So I'm just moving a few things around.
Yeah, he's not cheap, but he is cheaper than he could have been. They could have easily made him a $90-something $100 fighter. So
yeah,
I'm going with Gregor Gillespie. His wrestling is better. His striking is better. Diego has the advantage in the pure BJJ, and I don't think it matters here. I don't think they're going to end up in a pure BJJ environment. The last fight we broke down was Phil Hawes. And Phil Hawes could end up exhausted and in a tricky jiu-jitsu situation. Gregor Gillespie is not going to end up exhausted in a tricky jiu-jitsu situation. So even when he does take it to the ground, which he will, he's not going to be in trouble. So I have Gregor Gillespie in my lineup. I'm probably going to put some bets on him. I agree with you. This is a unanimous decision win. So that's probably a prop bet I'm going to hit. And as far as Monkey Knife Fight is concerned, I'm going more on both. They are pretty active. I think Gregor is just busy on top for most of this fight. And I think, Diego is going to be busy while they're standing to try to make it ugly. So this is pretty clear for me. I literally had to move my lineup around to get Gregor in it. But Jacob, what are your thoughts here? What are you doing? How do you feel?
I feel kind of weird about Gregor Gillespie because it feels like one of those up and coming guys, but he's already 34 years old, which is kind of hard to believe. And I found this also interesting. He stated that he ended his wrestling career because he didn't think he could beat Jordan Burroughs, which he was probably right about that. So that's why he said he ended his wrestling career. I will say that I have Gregor in my lineup. I think he dominates the fight. I'm going to take a prop bet for a Ferreira submission win. I saw him the way he controlled Pettis on the ground. Pettis is a very good BJJ guy. I see that Gregor, from what I can find, he's only a blue belt. So yes, he is a dominant wrestler, but in those weird, BJJ scrambles, if it comes to that, we'll see what happens. So I think he definitely will dominate. He's a better striker, a better wrestler, can get the takedowns, but there's just in the back of my head here, I'm thinking, let me just kind of hedge myself a little bit and take a prop at a submission win for Ferreira. So, but I think Gregor, I agree with you guys, just dominates this fight.
Yeah, and two things in jiu-jitsu, belts only matter in gi. They don't give out belts for no gi. So with Gregor's wrestling background, I don't know how much gi time he's actually put in. So him being a blue belt may not mean literally anything. Dan, what belt?
I used to be the king of putting zero time into gi. I actually got belted one time. I was hitting pads in the cage with Cattell, and they were doing a belt ceremony over on the mat. And all of a sudden I hear like clapping and like Cattell stop on the pads. And like I got my belt while I was in MMA gear hitting pads just because Laborio kept telling me to start doing gi. And I was like, yeah, I don't know. I will. But anyways, so. But
well, that's been my, like right behind me, right there where my finger is pointing is my blue belt certificate. I got my blue belt in 2003. I've worn that bathrobe maybe 4 times since then. I hate the gi. So, in MMA, when you look at somebody who's a phenomenal wrestler like Gregor Gillespie, if he has like a true old school jiu-jitsu coach, he's not going to get a belt unless he wears the gi. And if he's fighting MMA, there's no reason to wear the gi.
Well, he trains under Joe Scarola and Carlos Rosado.
Joe Scarola, isn't that a Northeast guy?
Not sure.
Because he's Italian.
Unbelievable. I know his name from somewhere.
Us Italians are offended by that assumption that we're all from the Northeast.
Or he was on The Ultimate Fighter, wasn't he?
It does sound very familiar. He was on The Ultimate Fighter. I think like the season.
Isn't he the guy who went home?
That name sounds so familiar.
We got to look this up.
We will look it up. That name does sound incredibly familiar now that you say it, Joe Scarola. But yeah, so we all see it going that way. I mean, depending on Jacob, he
did leave.
Yeah.
He was the guy, right?
He packed his bags and took off prematurely. Joe Scarola. Is that the same one though? Let me make sure.
Yeah, no, there's 10 different.
I think it was for his girlfriend too. It was like
It was. I remember now that you say that. It was for his girlfriend.
That's bad. That there's a lot of things I don't remember. That I remembered that about him. How many years after the fact? Oh, that's brutal.
You don't remember things in your own career.
He ended his career undefeated. He ended his career.
I was like, who's that guy? Danny fought him in 2010.
He ended his career undefeated, Dan, because Dana said if you leave, Jacob, if Dana said if you leave, you will never fight in the UFC. So that was it.
He lost the Ultimate Fighter fight, but that was an exhibition. So his pro career, he's undefeated.
And then Dana was like, if you leave, that's it. You're like, don't ever try to come back. Anyway, we've gotten off topic. I think Gregor wins. We all think Gregor wins. This off topic happened because Jacob, you mentioned you would take a prop bet on Diego Ferreira by submission. Unless that's plus like 500 or 600, I would avoid that. But
is there a prop bet that Ferreira is going to not fight because his girlfriend doesn't want him to?
Because he misses. I mean, listen, if Joe Scarola is married and has kids now and he's happy as hell, then good for him. I imagine that didn't work out though. Before you go, I just want to give a sincere thank you to all of our members and supporters. I just filmed a video like 2 hours ago, thanking all of you and walking through all the perks that you get for being a member, and new members signed up. So we're going to go ahead. I'm going to thank you again and walk through those benefits very quickly. So specific thanks to Ansi Music, Chris Turano, David Ramon, Chris Chori, Dunchichi, Jesse Correra, Lapuzza, Joe Todoro.
The live chat crew, the live stream.
Joe Todoro, Logan Garrick, X Sweet Spot X, Aaron Reynolds, Brent Hinson, Jill Loads, Jordan Burgard.
That's Big Don, baby.
Jacob's
Big
buddy.
Don.
Big Don.
And Juan Valdez. Sincere thank you to all of you guys. We appreciate it. Anybody out there who is not a member, click the join button below. It supports us. And in return, we'll hook you up with a Dan Kramer UFC Tops card, as long as those last, and our members who compete in our
buying like hotcakes,
and they're flying off the shelves. Nobody bought these things for 10 years, and now all of a sudden we're buying them up, giving them out to you. People have no idea what
they're like Pokemon cards.
The value is skyrocketing.
They're very popular all of a sudden again.
Because we're buying them all up. But any of our members who compete in our free DraftKings contest, you will win $30 if you win. If you are not a member, you can still win, but you will win $15. All right. Members get 30. Everybody else gets 15. Thank you so much. We're continuing to roll out new benefits. Members, when you're commenting on these videos, check out the emojis. You now have special emojis that only you can use. Thank you very much. It is genuinely appreciated. Thank you.